In the final days of January, the political and security atmosphere across the Asia-Pacific region entered an exceptionally tense phase as international attention converged on a series of unprecedented hardline moves by China targeting senior figures within its military establishment. Against a backdrop of mounting regional uncertainty, the investigation of multiple officers holding key positions, some at the very apex of the military command structure, has triggered waves of analysis, speculation, and concern among global observers. At the center of this attention is the investigation into Zhang Yusha, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, CMC, widely regarded as the highest-ranking active-duty military officer ever placed under formal investigation in modern Chinese history. For many analysts, this is not merely an isolated disciplinary case, but a watershed moment reflecting the growing intensity and scope of Beijing's long-running campaign to restructure and discipline its armed forces. What makes the case particularly sensitive is not only Zhang Yusha's official position, but also his personal background, political pedigree, and reputedly close relationship with China's top leadership. A seasoned veteran with extensive combat experience and the son of a founding general of the People's Liberation Army, Zhang had long been viewed as a pillar of political reliability and institutional continuity. Within military circles, he was often considered virtually untouchable, a figure emblematic of stability amid sweeping reforms and anti-corruption purges. For years, many assumed that regardless of how far the military's anti-corruption campaign extended, Zhang Yusha would remain beyond its reach. His sudden fall from presumed invulnerability therefore shattered long-held assumptions and called into question the existence of any safe zones within China's military power structure. On January 24th, Chinese authorities announced that Zhang Yusha, the sitting vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, was under investigation for serious violations of discipline and law, a standard formulation typically associated with major corruption or abuse of power cases. State media swiftly reported the announcement, but provided virtually no additional details, further fueling speculation and uncertainty. At roughly the same time, Liu Zhenli, another member of the Central Military Commission and chief of the Joint Staff Department, was also placed under investigation. The simultaneous scrutiny of two figures occupying such critical roles within the military's highest command body led many observers to conclude that this was not a singular incident, but part of a far broader and more coordinated campaign. Subsequently, the PLA Daily reported that Zhang Yusha and Liu Zhenli were accused of tolerating and, in some cases, exacerbating political and corruption-related problems within the armed forces. According to official narratives, their actions had undermined the principle of the Communist Party's absolute leadership over the military and weakened the party's governing foundation, a charge that carries profound political significance in China's system. However, international media outlets suggest that the underlying reasons for the investigation may be far more complex and serious than the officially stated allegations. The most striking revelations came from the Wall Street Journal, which cited sources familiar with the content of a closed-door high-level briefing held in China late last week. According to the Wall Street Journal, Zhang Yusha is suspected of forming political cliques within the military to build his own power base while abusing his authority inside the Central Military Commission. The report claims that Zhang allegedly accepted substantial bribes in exchange for facilitating promotions and career advancement for certain officers, thereby exerting deep influence over personnel decisions, an area regarded as critical to the integrity and stability of the military command structure. Notably, the newspaper sources indicate that Zhang is believed to have assisted former Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu in his rise through the ranks in exchange for significant material benefits. If substantiated, such allegations would reveal the extent to which Zhang may have manipulated personnel systems and power networks within the armed forces over years. The most explosive allegation, however, relates to national security at the highest strategic level. According to the Wall Street Journal, Zhang Yusha is suspected of transferring core technical data related to China's nuclear weapons program to the United States. This claim immediately captured the attention of international security analysts, as its confirmation would constitute one of the most severe breaches of classified information in modern history of the People's Republic of China. Sources cited by the newspaper further report that part of the evidence supporting these allegations was provided by Gu Jun, the former chief executive of China National Nuclear Corporation. Significantly, Chinese authorities launched a separate investigation into Gu Jun earlier this week on charges of serious disciplinary and legal violations, raising strong suspicions of an extensive network of interconnected misconduct spanning both military and nuclear sectors. Against this backdrop, recent statements by China's top leadership have taken heightened significance. In January, President Xi Jinping reaffirmed that the anti-corruption struggle remains extraordinarily complex and intense. He described corruption as a major obstacle to the party's development and national progress, emphasizing the need for relentless efforts to eradicate both bribery and bribery giving, and insisting that no individual, regardless of rank or status, would be allowed to evade accountability. Earlier, in October 2025, Chinese Ministry of Defense spokesperson Zhang Xiaogong declared that the party and military leadership maintain a consistent position. There are no forbidden zones in the military's anti-corruption campaign. He noted that the Communist Party Central Committee and the Central Military Commission had decided to expel numerous senior officers from both the party and the armed forces, including individuals who once held highly influential command positions. The Central Military Commission serves as the unified leadership and command authority over all of China's armed forces, including the People's Liberation Army and the People's Armed Police. Consequently, any personnel changes or investigations involving senior CMC members have far-reaching implications for power distribution, military strategy, and Beijing's overall decision-making capacity on critical security issues. Following the Wall Street Journal's report, several other international media outlets, including Malaysia's The Star and Time of Asia, echoed and analyzed the story. These reports broadly agree that allegations of nuclear secrets leakage, if credible, represent only one component of a much larger investigation encompassing corruption, abuse of power, and unlawful interference in officer appointments across the Chinese military. At present, with official disclosures remaining minimal and the most serious accusations emerging primarily from foreign sources, the investigation into Zhang Yusha continues to cast a dense cloud of uncertainty over China's armed forces. The fact that a figure once regarded as a political and military linchpin, a symbol of stability, has become the focal point of such grave allegations suggests that Beijing's internal rectification efforts have entered a fundamentally new phase, one in which unwritten limits and informal protections no longer apply. This development has compelled observers to reassess long-standing assumptions about the structure of power within China's military, the effectiveness of oversight mechanisms, and the concentration of authority at the highest levels. Should the allegations be confirmed, the case would not merely reflect the downfall of individual actors, but expose enduring systemic vulnerabilities where excessive power accumulated in key positions without adequate checks and balances. Conversely, if some of the claims prove exaggerated or insufficiently substantiated, the manner in which Chinese authorities handle the case will still convey a resolute message about the leadership's determination to reimpose discipline and institutional order within the military. In an era of mounting global and regional instability, any turbulence affecting China's top military command inevitably reverberates beyond its borders. Strategic partners, rivals, and neighboring states alike are closely monitoring developments, not only to better understand internal dynamics in Beijing, but also to assess the potential long-term implications for the regional balance of power and strategic stability. Until further official information emerges, the case involving Zhang Yusha is likely to remain at the center of international debate and analysis. What is certain is that China's military rectification campaign has entered a far more forceful and consequential phase. The ramifications of this shift cannot yet be fully measured, but they will shape not only China's internal military governance. Conversely, if some of the claims prove exaggerated or insufficiently substantiated, the manner in which Chinese authorities handle the case will still convey a resolute message about the leadership's determination to reimpose discipline and institutional order within the military. In an era of mounting global and regional instability, any turbulence affecting China's top military command inevitably reverberates beyond its borders. Strategic partners, rivals, and neighboring states alike are closely monitoring developments, not only to better understand internal dynamics in Beijing, but also to assess the potential long-term implications for the regional balance of power and strategic stability. Until further official information emerges, the case involving Zhang Yusha is likely to remain at the center of international debate and analysis. What is certain is that China's military rectification campaign has entered a far more forceful and consequential phase. The ramifications of this shift cannot yet be fully measured, but they will shape not only China's internal military governance, but also how Beijing defines its strength, credibility, and role within an increasingly volatile global order. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societal Stories.